Sandy says read, and welcome to the channel. You guys, I don't even know how to begin this. Today we are going to do a video on how to save money on parrot toys while keeping your smart parrots happy. Yes, we will work books into this. We will sprinkle books throughout this because this is a book channel. Sandy Says Read is about reading books. Let's begin with some housekeeping. Please subscribe to the channel. Please encourage your book-loving friends to subscribe to the channel too, because books is what we typically do here. It's typically fun. We're going to start with an explanation as to what's going on. All right. I know it sounds a little random. You guys, I've got notes. If you're new to the channel, the notes are vital to getting through this because I am ancient. I need the notes to keep me on track. I'm not supposed to be here right now. I'm not supposed to be sitting here filming. I'm supposed to be at Ziggy's Haven Bird Sanctuary at their open house. Yeah, today at their open house, I was supposed to have a table where I was going to be selling my books and talking to people about bird stuff. And then later in the afternoon, I was going to be giving a presentation on, wait for it, how to save money on parrot toys while keeping your smart parrots happy. I was going to be giving a presentation on companion parrot enrichment ideas, good stuff you can do to keep your smart birds happy, engaged, to enrich their environment, right? I've given this presentation before. I've in like a couple different places. I've spoken at like the American Federation of Aviculture about, well, that was more about owning companion parrots versus the United States Constitution, blah, blah, blah. I've done this kind of stuff before, okay? Today was just going to be run-of-the-mill doing it, right? But I'm dealing with a kidney stone. Yeah. And on top of that, my head decided, let's have a migraine too. So I'm here and I'm doing this instead. And I'm frustrated about it. I'm kind of pissed off about it because, you know, kidney stone shouldn't take me down. I've passed plenty of kidney stones in my lifetime. But here we are. I'm going to talk about Ziggy's Haven for a minute before we dive into all this good stuff. I want to talk about Ziggy's because being there this afternoon was going to be my way to kind of help Ziggy's. I support them as best I can. I believe in their mission. I encourage you guys to visit their website, and I will put that in the drop-down box below because Ziggy's Haven Bird Sanctuary in Inverness, Florida, does good things for the community, not just for the birds in their care. The folks at Ziggy's, they actually are the bird sitters that I hire when I go on business trips or somewhere for a book event. If I'm going to be away for an evening, I hire them to come take care of my birds while I'm away. I have a couple of birds in my flock who came from Ziggy's. And in fact, Bobo, this is on my list. Bobo, the female eclectus parrot, came from Ziggy's because she came from the DeKalb hoarding situation up in Georgia. You guys can look that up online. It was horrific and terrible and awful. There was I think he was a cardiovascular doctor. There was a doctor who lived in DeKalb County, Georgia, who was hoarding birds. And I mean, it's a sickness. It's a mental health illness to want to hoard animals, right? And he was hoarding just an absolute ton of birds. I think there were some other animals in his house too, but the parrots, obviously I remember that part. He had birds in his home who they had expired. They had passed away, but they were still in his house. And he was just buying more birds. And some of them were breeding. Bobo is one of those who was breeding. She had, when Wendy found her, Bobo was sitting on an egg in a nest box. Bobo's partner had expired in the cage. It was horrible. It was awful. But Wendy was doing like one last circuit around the house just to check and see if there was any more if there was anyone else left behind, and she opened up Bobo's nest box, and Bobo just like lunged for her, right? And Wendy's like, whoops, okay. So she closed the nest box, took the whole box out of the cage, and got her out of that situation. Bobo has endured a lot in her past. So I adopted Bobo. She lives here with me, and she is spoiled now. She gets anything she wants, basically now. She is spoiled now. I want to believe that she has moved to a much better environment here with me. The point is, when that DeKalb situation was going on, the folks in DeKalb contacted Wendy at Ziggy's Haven and was like, can you come help us? And Wendy dropped everything to go help up there. She was able to drop everything to go help up there because Ziggy's Haven has, they have a board of directors. They have a system in place, a structure in place so that Wendy could go and Ziggy's Haven could continue. Ziggy's Haven could keep working like clockwork because there are people, there are volunteers, there are board members in place to keep the sanctuary going. And it is a sanctuary. While there are birds who can be adopted, and I invite you to go check out the adoptable birds, there are some birds who are in a sanctuary situation at Ziggy's, and it is set up with aviaries so that there can be a sanctuary for those birds, which I think is beautiful. I think that's lovely. There are some birds who can just live out their final days in peace, in comfort, getting spoiled at Ziggy's. And I think that's lovely. Another thing they do that I'm on a soapbox. Another thing they do that I think is wonderful is they will help people keep their birds. Like if you're going through a situation, like a financial situation, if you're going through a divorce, if you're going through like a medical situation, or if you're moving across country and you need somewhere to board your birds for a while, or if you just need some kind of help to get through a rough patch, you don't necessarily have to give up your bird. You don't necessarily have to surrender this companion that has been like a support system or a little feathered friend to you for however many years. You don't have to surrender that friend. Ziggy's has support structures in place to help people keep their birds in their homes, or they have structures in place where they can board a bird for a couple of weeks or even a couple of months while someone gets back on their feet, or while someone moves across the country, or while someone goes through a medical procedure and then can get their bird back. There's that I think is really important, and that touches me. I think that's wonderful. So I like to support Ziggy's, however, and okay, next on the list. Let's dive into this and talk about parrots are freaking smart. You know this if you have a companion parrot in your home. They are freaking smart. They need enrichment. They need more than their cup of food and their dish of water in a cage all day long, right? They need enrichment. They need lots of toys. They need lots of interaction. They need, interaction and love from us, their caretaker. They need good stuff like that. I'm going to show you a book now. Several years ago, I purchased this, and let's see if we can get it without a glare. All right. Polly Wants a Poem. This book is by Bob Morrow. He put together some images that he used with permission, and he wrote some just crazy, quirky little poems that you could read to your birds. And that might sound weird, crazy to people who aren't pet owners, but I have read these poems to my parrots over the years because it's just one more way to interact with your bird. And I recommend this book. When it was published, I don't know if you can still get a hold of it. I will put a link in the drop-down box below, just in case you still can. The proceeds from this book go to the Alex Foundation. We'll talk about that in a minute, because we're still talking about how smart these parrots are. But one of the poems in here, let me show you this page. Look at those pretty lovebirds. Aren't they cute? Get the glare off of it. Cute little lovebirds, right? It says, no parrot toy can take the place of smoochy woochy kissy face. Crazy, right? Isn't that silly? But it's a silly little rhyme. And if you're reading it to your parrot, all the parrot knows is you're interacting with them and they're hearing those words of cuteness. Yeah, And it's a truism too. No toy is going to take the place of interaction with your bird. And let's keep that in mind as we go through this whole presentation, this whole video. I mean, I'm going to be talking about making toys and how to use toys that you buy. I'm going to be talking about that, but keep in mind that interaction with your parrot is what they're craving more than just a toy hanging in the cage. Okay. That interaction is good. But okay, so the first book that we talked about is Polly Wants a Poem, Poetry and Prose for Parrots by Bob Morrow. I'll put a link in the drop-down box below. So hopefully that is still available out there on the web because it's awesome and cute. And like I mentioned, the proceeds for that one go to the Alex Foundation. Alex was an African gray parrot that Dr. Irene Pepperberg worked with, and I grabbed her book as well. This is Alex and Me. Let me get the glare off of it. This is Alex and Me by Dr. Pepperberg. She wrote this book as a less academic book that was more accessible to your average reader, right? And I enjoyed it very much. Alex, he did pass away after many years of working and interacting with Dr. Pepperberg and her colleagues, but he showed the world just how freaking smart the African gray parrot is. He understood abstract concepts that we didn't realize birds could understand. He understood the concept of zero and the concept of none, and he understood when things weren't in front of him, but they still existed. Okay, he understood those concepts that we didn't realize parrots could understand. He understood it. He made up words. Okay, he took like the word for cherry and banana and came up with a word banary. And I mean, he was very smart and he was manipulative. He could manipulate the students who were working with him at the university as my birds manipulate me. I mean, he was just a very smart bird. There's another book called The Alex Studies, which I've got over here on this shelf. It is more academic in nature. This one, Alex and Me, it's just more accessible. So if I were recommending a book about the intelligence of the parrot and the intelligence of the African gray, and in particular, I would recommend this one first to just the average person out there watching this channel. But if you wanted to dive deeper, if you wanted to get more scientific with it, the Alex Studies is a good one. I'll put a link to both of those in the drop-down box below. Yeah. Another way that you can learn more about the intelligence of these birds is through some of the channels here on YouTube. I will recommend a channel for Einstein, the talking Texas parrot. Einstein is pretty awesome. He actually wrote a testimonial on the back of this book for me. His mom, Marcia, did, but Einstein wrote it. Where is it? Einstein, the talking Texan parrot, wrote, Petrie, a gregarious sun conure, takes you under his wing, and then just goes on and says really nice things about the book and the information that's in this book. And I thought that was wonderful that Marcia was willing to let Einstein be a little spokesperson the way Petrie was being a little spokesperson for the bird community with the book. That was cool. But Einstein still does what he talks and he entertains his audience on that channel. And every Sunday afternoon that she can, Marcia will live stream stuff that Einstein is doing. So on Sunday afternoons, there's a live stream of Einstein on that channel, and I will put a link to that in the drop-down box below. There are some other African grays and conures and Indian ringneck parrots out here on YouTube that you can watch, and you can just see how smart these birds are. I mean, they're not just mimicking words that their owners have said to them. You can see they're applying specific words in specific situations, and you can see how smart they are. That smartness, that intelligence is why we really need to be cautious about how much time we're forcing these birds to spend in their cages. Okay, they're going to get bored in there. They're going to be sad. They're going to languish if we leave them in a cage while we're at work all day. Sometimes you have no choice. I mean, if you're at work all day, they are safer in an enclosed space than out flying around your house where they might bump into something and get hurt, where they might, I don't know, get attacked by another pet, right? Sometimes they have to be in that cage for safety's sake. When they're in that cage, let's make it as enriching as possible. Okay, so let's talk about some other safety items before we dive into the types of toys and stuff we can put in there for them. Some safety items. I want to mention stainless steel as opposed to like galvanized steel or zinc coated items. The toys and the bars of cages and the are you gonna be able to see this? The fasteners and the rings of toys. These different elements come in metals, right? Okay, the chains that hold the toys up, these things come in different types of metals. It is optimum to get them in stainless steel. It's not cheapest. It's not always easy to find, but it's optimum to go with stainless steel. When Petrie was younger, we had him at the vet and learned that he had like a zinc toxicity building up inside him because I didn't know any better. And the water bottle that was hanging in his cage had galvanized metal. And some of the hooks that were holding up his toys, they were not made of stainless steel. And he was picking at these things. Of course, he's a bird. He's picking at everything in his cage, right? So I needed to switch things up and I needed to start using only stainless steel for the hooks that were holding up his toys, for the elements in his toys. And that's what I did then. And, so to tell if your item is made of stainless steel, one of the ways people will talk to you about is using a magnet. And I have this little magnet right here that I will just like go up to the item and hold. You guys, see if I can do this without throwing all this stuff all over here. We'll do it this way. Okay, so here's a piece of toy that has been utterly destroyed and enjoyed in the past. There's two pieces of leather and there's a chain in the middle. If you just go up to it, see how it attaches, that magnet is attracted to this. The magnet is really holding that chain, right? It's really got a hold of it. So you would assume, oh, this must be a stainless steel chain because stainless steel will be attracted to a magnet. A magnet will be attracted to stainless steel. It will grab and hold an item, right? Be careful with that because, yeah, that is the truth. A magnet will be attracted to stainless steel. It will grab it and hold on to it. And I'm going to put this somewhere because if I just hold this around here, we're going to have this magnet attaching to everything for a while. Okay, there we go. But a magnet will be attracted to all kinds of metals. Okay, something with zinc, something with iron. These things will be attracted to that magnet too. While the stainless steel will really form a good bond, there will be that firm bond there. Just be aware that other metals will be attracted to that magnet as well. So read your labels. Read your labels. If you're worried about zinc, if you're worried about galvanized steel, if you're worried about those things, just read your labels. Make sure that you're getting stainless steel. It is a little bit pricier, but it'll last a long time. Okay, and you can clean it easily. It is a good thing to have stainless steel. Zinc was a problem for Petrie. Let's talk about, okay, this little link that I just showed you. This guy right here. I prefer this type of link to hold a toy in the cage or on the jungle gym. I prefer that over this pear link. Am I showing you these well enough? Can you see? I need to glance at the screen over here. This is a pear link, and you can see it will unscrew and open just like that. So you can unscrew it and open it. Or you can see it, if you can see it at all. But now it's got an opening here where you can see, I can put my finger in there. It's got the opening there where obviously you would put the toy through there and then hang it on the bars and then close it back up, right? That opening is really easy for a bird to manipulate. That pear link is pretty easy for a bird to get open. And then that tiny little bit of metal, the way it is so skinny, is really easy to get caught down in the band that's on a parrot's leg. You know, our companion parrots, they have those leg bands. Those leg bands have good information on them. And there's actually a passage in Petrie's book, How to Train Your Human, that talks about the importance of that leg band. Some people remove those leg bands so that toys like this and other things don't snag on them. That leg band has information on it that is important. There's this passage in here that explains why I'm so passionate about keeping that leg band. Even if you don't keep it on your bird, if you have a vet clip it off at some point, which has its own issues, keep the leg band somewhere. Keep it, because there's so much important. Anyway, the point of this talk was, if you've got one of these pair links and it's in the cage and your bird gets it open and this gets snagged under that leg band, all of a sudden you have a frightened bird who is stuck on this thing and stuck on the toy and yanking to get away, and they could harm themselves greatly. Now you've got an emergency vet visit and an injured bird. This thing I have seen where, like, a cockatiel has gotten this hook in his mandible and down through that hole. Oh God, I cannot imagine how frightening that is for that poor little bird and the owner, who now has an emergency vet visit to take care of. So I don't recommend these for hanging toys in the cage. If you can get away from it, when I get these, I yeet them. I have it here for my example. I so much prefer these. These are called quick links. I prefer these quick links. They still have an opening, obviously, because you got to get the toys, you know, hooked through there. But they screw up there. They screw up and they unscrew to open. They're a little bit more difficult to get open and closed for the bird. But once the bird does get it open, if the bird gets it open, it's a little bit thicker. It's not as skinny as the pear link is. Can you see it? It's not as skinny as the pear link, okay? So it's more difficult to get that down between a leg band and the leg. It's certainly more difficult to get it down into a mandible, okay? So these I prefer, and they come in different sizes and colors, and you can get them in stainless steel. This particular toy, I cannot give to my birds yet until I remove this bell from the bottom of it. I typically will not buy a toy that has a bell like this, but my birds really like this crinkly stuff up top. Yeah, so, yeah. And this is a box that I can open and put stuff inside. So this is a good foraging toy for my birds. So I bought it. All I have to do is yeet the pear hook and yeet this bell. There's a clapper inside that bell. Can you see the clapper in there? See that clapper? Okay, that little thing, for you or me, that would be difficult to pull out of there. I'm going to have to use a tool to do it if I were just removing the clapper. Once that clapper comes off, there's like a sharp end to it. And it's small enough that a bird could swallow it. And I have heard horror stories of birds swallowing these things, okay? This particular type of bell, I mean, even my conures could get this bell off of here if they wanted to. My African gray mouse, oh, she would definitely get this off of here. Either of my eclectus would get this off of here in a heartbeat, and it would be a safety hazard. So this particular type of bell, I just won't hand this to any of my birds. And I just recommend be cautious with the types of bells that you might hand to your birds too. Just keep in mind the type of birds you have, the type of beak they have, the size and strength of that beak, because getting that clapper stuck in their crop is an emergency trip to the vet for surgery, for having them go under anesthesia and have surgery. And it's not worth it. That little bell right there, it's not enough fun to justify an emergency trip to the vet. Okay, I would yeet that off of there. And what I do is, I don't know if you guys can see this very well, but there's a little wooden ball there. I just bring that ball down so that I can get that hook off of there with a tool, and then this bell just slides right off. It's another reason that it's not a great thing. Anyway, I get rid of that bell, and then it's still a very fun toy without that little bell. There are bells that have little ding ringers inside them, which is why they're a bell, right? And they're long tubular bells, and that little ring dinger, that clapper, is inside, and it's far enough up inside that the bird can't reach it with their beak. The the length of the bell is still fun for them to play with. I have a number of them in Mouse's cage. I've got one up on her jungle gym up top because she loves to play with those bells. She makes music with those bells. She hangs between them and rattles them with both of her feet. She loves those bells. So it is something enriching. She enjoys that interaction. But yeah, the bird safe bells are what you can look for. And in fact, you can do a search in any bird toy store for bird safe bell, and those long bells will come up. I recommend looking for stainless steel bird safe bells because they make them. They are quite pricey, right? Okay, so we're going to talk about indestructible toys, which are usually more pricey than destructible toys, right? Okay, so what I'm going to show you here is this is a mostly destructible toy. Okay, it looks like, I think it was called an atom, A-T-O-M, an atom ball. It's wooden balls connected by wooden sticks. All right, so it's pretty solid, but not completely. One of my birds with a good strong beak, like Mouse, could destroy this. It's not indestructible. It just has a little ring that it used to have a pair link through, and I used just some jute string to attach it to the top of the cage or the jungle gym. I can put foraging items in there. I could put crinkle paper in there or little treats inside there that she can forage out and make this a toy that she can play with until the day that she does destroy it. Okay, it's not indestructible. A destructible and indestructible, one of these is this thing. This thing is heavy. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm having some difficulty holding this up here. This is an indestructible foraging cage. This guy, you unscrew the top and you can take this top lid off and you can put in here, I would put food items in here and only have this in the cage or in like the outdoor aviary for like a couple of hours and then bring it back inside, empty it out. Indestructible ones like this, if I wasn't putting perishable material in it, this would be one I would hang inside the cage, like for during the day. Like if I was going to be gone all day long, this could go inside the cage because the bird's not going to destroy it while I'm gone. The bird will have access to something fun to forage for 8, 9, 10 hours, right? This will last. Whereas the other toy, they might destroy that and be done with it in an hour or two, and then it's gone. So the destructible toys are, in my opinion, are something that is more advantageous to have up on the jungle gym or in the outdoor aviary when the bird is out there for an hour at a time. When they're up on the jungle gym and doing all kinds of things, they're not confined and they're not focused on just destroying that thing. Typically, they're doing a lot of stuff. So the destructible toy might last a little longer if it's out on the jungle gym, if it's out in an area where there are lots of other things to focus on. Does that make? I think I've bought 3 of these for Mouse over the years. She does not have one in her cage at the moment. She's destroyed it. So it's not indestructible. It's a foraging system that has it has a track on which these little devices move, and the bird moves the devices around the track until they come to an opening, and then the treat that's inside the device falls through the opening. So the bird is solving a puzzle to get their treat. Mouse is too smart for that, and she just yanks the device out of the track. She has figured out how to manipulate it out of the track, and then she can get her treat that way. It's easier, faster. And she prefers it that way, and she's destroyed these things that way. So yeah, I haven't put this one in her cage for a while. I'm letting her forget, I hope, how she destroyed the other 2 before I put this one in. But there are foraging systems like this. They're made of a hard plastic. You hear that? They're made of a harder plastic in hopes that the bird isn't immediately destroying it, right? So it's sort of like a medium price point between the destructible things and that indestructible, metal powder coated finished cage. Make sense? Of course it makes sense. Okay. Next on the list, I'm going to suggest when you're purchasing these toys and things, save the parts that you can save. Save the parts that are salvageable. I mean, that foraging system I just showed you, it had those little devices that run along the track. They're little like pyramid shaped devices that run along that track. I saved the ones that she didn't destroy. I saved those. I've got them in a drawer. So I can use them in this system. So there's 3 in this system that I just showed you. I've got a couple more. So I can have more than 3 of those little things going in the track for mouse. Not a big deal, but better example is I have, this is the busy bee or the buzzy bee. This item is sold by a couple different companies, and Sebastian, the blue-throated conure, loves these bees. Oh my word. When I put one of these in there, he will go straight to it and start picking at it and playing with it. He loves to destroy these bees. I've timed him, he has been known to utterly destroy one of these bees in under an hour. He's a conure. He's a little bit taller than the actual bee itself here, okay? But yeah, he has destroyed a toy of this size in under an hour with his little conure beak. These things cost between $12 and $15, depending on where you're buying it from. That's a lot of money for an hour of joy, okay? So what I've done is I've watched for when these things go on sale somewhere, and I buy like a few when they're on sale somewhere. And I have started, well, I started right away. I will gather the parts after he destroys it. See, this one is a destroyed bee, but I grabbed the bee itself, and you'll notice that I changed out the hook that it came with. They always come with the pear hook. I changed it out with the quick link instead. I saved the bee, and I have a bowl. This is not the bowl. I've got all these parts and pieces as well. See, there's a bit of the string, we'll call it a string, a bit of the wire that the pieces of wood are on in there. I've saved the little beads. It's a little bead, which you can't see because my fingers are in the way. A little bead, okay? I'm doing so badly, you guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I save these little parts and pieces, and what I do is I remake a bee for him because I can't afford to give him a $15 bee every day. That's a lot of money, you guys. So I remake the bees as best I can so that he has a recycled bee from time to time. So I recycle the bees. Not all of the pieces of wood are reusable. He shreds some of those pieces of wood, and he shreds them to the point where they're not going to be safe to put on a recycled bee. I can't use them. Save what you can. Save the parts that you can from your toys when you can. In fact, in front of me here, I have some parts of toys that I have saved. And there you go. See, it's just a little chain with these pieces of plastic. There used to be other stuff in between those pieces of plastic, but the bird destroyed the parts that were in between. The destroyed part is gone. The part that I could keep, I kept because I will put this in another toy. I will make this into another item in the future. I showed you the leather and the chain a minute ago when we were looking at the stainless steel concept. Oh yeah. What are you teaching your bird with the indestructible and even the destructible toys? But the indestructible toys, I have heard folks worry about giving indestructible toys to their birds. And I get it. Okay, there is an argument to be made for handing your bird a toy they can't destroy, that they can't beat it, they can't destroy it, they can't win with that toy because it will never be destroyed. And I get it. I understand you don't want to frustrate your bird. You don't want your bird to lose in the battle against the toy, right? I mean, these bees that Sebastian destroys, I mean, he utterly destroys these things. Some of these bees, he even gets the antenna off of there, okay? He just destroys them. And that's probably very satisfying to him to win and then I fix them and give them back. But I mean, it's probably very satisfying to destroy, you know, a shreddable pinata and just be done with it and to finish it off and to be the winner, right? Some of these toys that we're giving them now to save money, to have a long-lasting toy, can't be destroyed. Here's an example. This is a foraging toy, a foraging system. Can you see it? Yeah, this is PVC pipe. Bird's not going to destroy that. And I will put inside there some treats. Like I'll put some Nuji berries and almonds, stuff like that inside there. The bird then has to move this to get inside there and get the treat out. So it just makes it a bit more difficult to eat your treat. You have to work to get your treat out of the foraging thing. But they can't destroy this. It can't be destroyed. Now, as you can see, the lid, the piece that they have to move, is being destroyed. That's being munched on, right? But like the balls and the little floral piece up here, the chain itself, that can't be destroyed. Am I setting my bird up to feel like they have failed? I don't think so. There's plenty of other stuff, plenty of other toys in the cage, on the jungle gyms around my house, and the jungle gyms atop their cages that they can destroy and they can be the winner, right? I don't think that we're setting our birds up for failure, giving them a couple of toys that are indestructible. And you'll notice inside there, they can pull the stuff out. So the toy itself might be indestructible. The thing that we've purchased might be indestructible, but the things we put in it, the birds can pull out, and the birds can pull out and enjoy, and they can be the winner of that, okay? I don't think we're setting our birds up for failure by giving them an indestructible toy. Although you'll hear that argument out there sometimes, but I don't think we're doing that. One of the things I have done, which is a shame, and I've been careful lately, is I have taught Mouse how to take apart her cage. Yeah, I did not mean to, but there we go. With these indestructible toys, like this bolt, this nut and bolt thing here, this is a screw that the nut comes off of, right? Okay, this is a foot toy for a bird, and Mouse loves this thing, right? It's hollow inside. So what I would do is when I give Mouse her treats on the top of her cage, I would, before I released her from the cage to come up top to the jungle gym, I would put a treat underneath it. So it's sitting there, and she would come up and she would whip this thing over and get the treat that's underneath it because she knows there's a treat underneath it. And then after the treats are all gone, she would play with this and she would take the nut off of the bolt, right? She would unscrew it. So she learned how to unscrew the bolt. She transferred that knowledge all on her own, and she learned how to unscrew things in her cage. So one day I noticed that she was taking her cage apart, and I had to fix that. So I have not given her this toy in a long time. She hasn't had this foot toy in, you guys, it's probably been a couple years. I kid you not. It's been a little while, okay? So I'm hoping she forgets that knowledge. She's found other ways to take her cage apart as of late. So I actually have, you know, these little chains I was showing you. I actually have one of those chains like wrapped around to keep her from undoing the, yeah. I mentioned at the beginning of this that our parrots are really smart, right? They're so smart. We have to watch out for that. Okay. With the indestructible toys that are, we want to set the bird up so that they can taste success, right? You don't want a frustrated bird who can't get into a foraging system. You don't want a bird who's like, oh my gosh, I can't get at the treat, and then be like angry and fussy and squawking and making a lot of noise about it, right? We don't want them to be fussy. I have this foraging system, which the bird has to unscrew to get at the treat that's inside, okay? This one is obnoxious to every one of my birds. So I keep it for example purposes. None of my birds will tolerate this foraging system because it's too difficult. Even when I leave it like not all the way screwed in, like see how I don't have it all the way screwed in. I've got it just like barely. So it wouldn't take much for Mouse, who's very smart and knows how to unscrew things. It wouldn't take much for her to undo this and get the treat inside. But she doesn't like it. She won't do it. It's too much work. So just be aware and I hope that I've already said this during this video, be aware of your bird, observe your bird, watch what they like and don't like, and then like tailor what you're doing for them to their needs and their likes, right? Yeah, here we go. Yeah, but none of my birds will tolerate this specific foraging system. They won't do it. Yeah, that's just for example purposes in my house. A foraging system that is well accepted in my house is an easier one. This foraging system right here, it's just 2 little compartments, and they're easy for any of my birds to get their whole head into. And I've already filled this one. It's easy for them to get their head into. They can get out, what's in here? I've got popcorn, nutri-berries, and pistachios in this one. They can lift that little star lid off of there and get in there and eat what they want. They can tear out these crinkly papers. Easy breezy. This thing can hang in the cage and it's easy breezy. Yeah. Any of my birds will handle that. The conures, easy. Okay. There's some of them are very easy to work with. Let me put this over here. A macaw or a cockatoo with a really strong beak, you want to pick the difficulty level that you think your bird can handle and match the foraging system or the toys that you're building to that beak, basically, or to what that bird enjoys. I mean, just because your bird has a really strong beak, like mouse, doesn't mean she's going to enjoy that really difficult foraging system like the one I just showed you, right? I have really simple foraging systems for my conures because they don't have a big enough beak to unscrew something or to dive into something really large. Yeah, so I have very simple things for the conures. Also have just easy ways to make. We also have very easy ways to make foraging systems for our birds. And let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about making toys out of cheap stuff. Since this is, how to make toys cheaply for our birds. Let's talk about some cheap items like paper plates, paper towels. Did I bring a paper towel example? Oh, no, I didn't. I was going to mention paper towel rolls, but I have a toilet paper roll example. We'll talk about that in a second. Coffee filters, Kleenex boxes. I'm going to talk about that in depth for a second. And like you can purchase toy parts on sale, like a lot of these bird toys and bird toy part websites, they'll have sales from time to time. And when you see something on sale, I'll just grab a bunch of it, right? And then you have it for when you're building your toys. What I want to mention here, before we talk about this, I want to mention, do what is within your comfort level. If you don't like the idea of using a toilet paper roll to make a toy for your bird, which I don't use these, then don't do it. If you don't like the idea of using the paper towel tubes, because some people still have glue on them, some companies still use glue, then don't do it. If you're not comfortable with it, don't do it. If you are worried that there might be some kind of finish on a particular type of paper plate, don't use that type of paper plate. Use a different kind, or don't use paper plates to make toys for your birds. If something is not comfortable to you, you don't have to do it. Okay, I'm just giving you some ideas here. Take the pieces that you do like and use those pieces. Okay, basically what I'm saying is you do you. These are your birds. You know your birds. I don't. Okay, no one else knows your birds as well as you know your birds. Okay, hang on. We'll see how this goes. Do what you're comfortable with and what you know your birds will like. Okay, this is a way for you to interact with your birds, a way for you to observe your birds and learn more about them. And yeah, okay, I'm losing track. Okay, back to the list. The paper towel tube. We've got ourselves a bag. Inside this bag are some examples of stuff that you can put inside a paper towel tube. Right? Pretend this is a big old paper towel tube. Obviously, I didn't have one to bring and show you guys for this filming. But there are palm fronds that have been colored that different companies sell, and you can use palm fronds inside the paper towel tube. You can have these things sticking out of other toys that you have saved. You can thread these things through the bars of a cage, and a bird will play with that and find enjoyment in it. Okay, palm fronds. Other things that you can put inside your paper towel tube are tiny little wicker balls. Mouse loves these tiny little wicker balls. Any type of wicker ball she will play with. She will play catch with a tiny little wicker ball. We can play catch with wicker balls, which I think is adorable. She hooks it on her beak and flings it, and we play catch. Here's what I was looking for. The coffee filters. If you take one of these coffee filters, you can use it. I'm not going to be able to get them apart. Hold, please. You can stuff it in the end of the paper towel tube. Okay, and that effectively blocks the end of the paper towel tube. And then you can put some treats in the other end. You can put some crinkly paper in the other end. I have cut holes in the side of the paper towel tube and stuffed a baby carrot in the hole. And Mouse just goes nuts for that. She loves that. Now, I won't use the tiny little, what is this? You guys. I won't use the toilet paper roll tubes, but you can take a paper towel tube and cut it in half to have more. There you go. I probably should have done this another day, but here we are. All right, the paper plate idea, what I have done with paper plates in the past is just taken like crinkly paper, thrown some crinkly paper on the paper plate, and then thrown some millet in there. Millet. Yeah. Or safflower seeds or nutri-berry crumbs. You know, I've thrown stuff in there so that the bird then goes to the paper plate and has to forage through the crinkly paper and forage through the stuff to get to the treats. It's just a way to make eating the treats or eating the food take a little bit more time. It adds foraging fun to eating the treats, slows down eating the treats. Okay. Is there anything else in this bag I need to show you? There's things that you can purchase in bulk, like these. Is there a glare on that bag? Yeah. These are called bagels. They're little round pieces of almost like cardboard paper. And you can thread these chains through that. You can thread bird safe rope through it, make toys out of these things. You guys get the picture. You understand. We can make our own bird toys, fashion bird toys to the likes of our pet birds. The point, we're going to wrap this up here. The point of this, you are enriching your bird's environment. I didn't show you the Kleenex box. Hang on. Guys. I want to believe that if I was feeling better, this would not be quite as rambling and not be quite as crazy. But I think we all know that's probably a lie. It would all be crazy anyway. The Kleenex box. I will not give my birds a Kleenex box that has been in the bathroom. Okay, you know when you flush the toilet, flecks go everywhere. Okay, that's why you're not supposed to leave your toothbrush out in the bathroom. Okay, so that is my hang up. That is my hang up. Not everybody has that hang up. Not everybody worries about that kind of stuff. Not everybody believes that spray goes in all directions. Not everybody worries about that kind of thing. So if you're not worried about it, don't worry about it. You do you. A Kleenex box that has been in the living room or in the bedroom or in the kitchen, I'm not so worried about. So I will take a Kleenex box like this one, and I will put stuff inside it after removing the plastic. You know how there's that little plastic, little plastic guard that's on the top of the Kleenexes for when you yank the Kleenex out. I remove that, and then I will put stuff inside here for Mouse. And Mouse will utterly destroy this box, getting at the goodies inside. She loves it. It's the greatest toy ever. I will put a single paper towel in there. You guys, you can do anything you want with this, okay? But I will take like a Nutri-Berry. I'll put a Nutri-Berry or two inside the paper towel and like wrap them up in there, just adding to the foraging fun, right? Just adding to the foraging adventure. Okay, just making it more difficult to get at that treat, making it take more time to get at the food. And I have put her dry food in these boxes before too. The key there is it's dry food. Okay, if this foraging box is going to be in her cage with her for any length of time, it's going to have dry food in it, nothing perishable. Now, right now, you're about to see, I'm going to pull a carrot out of here. Pull a carrot out of my hat. I'm going to pull a baby carrot out of here to show you, because I didn't want to forget to talk about the baby carrots. But if I was putting something perishable like a baby carrot in the Kleenex box or in the paper towel tube, that would be something I was handing her for an hour, something I was going to be coming back to check on shortly, because I don't want perishable food in her cage drawing bugs. I don't want perishable food in her cage that I'm going to forget about and she's going to eat 4 hours or 8 hours later. And oh my God, make sick, right? And I don't know if a carrot would make her sick 8 hours later, but I'm not going to test that. Okay. Baby carrot. And she loves baby carrots. Mouse loves these things. She will take this and she will like hold it in her foot and just munch it down like a cigar or something, right? Very cute. Let's see what else. There are foot toys that you can purchase pretty cheaply at the different bird stores online. And then the little foot toy can go in one of these foraging boxes for the bird to discover, right? Or you can just hand it to the bird as a foot toy. And then they're holding it in their foot, playing with it, tearing it apart, right? You understand the concept of a foot toy. There you go. Now, I will tell you, there are some foot toys that I would not put in this box except as an example for you here. This little foot toy, listen, it's a rattle. That right there would scare the crap out of Mouse if it was in this box, okay? Because she doesn't know what it is. She's not seen it before, and it's making a weird noise inside her foraging box. That, she's an African gray, that would freak her out. And suddenly the box is a scary thing. Like I'm saying, you want to just observe your bird. Know your bird. Know what they will tolerate and won't tolerate, what they're going to like, what they're not going to like. Learn alongside them. This right here, I know that Mouse would not tolerate that. Now, Cricket would freaking love this. And this is going to be hers soon. Yeah. This, look at its cute little face. Can you see that? Look at the cute little smile. Isn't that adorable? Yeah. Very fun. All right. And what else is here? Oh, here is an Indestructible foot toy. Here we go. See that? It's got a little thing on there that they can manipulate and move, but it's not going to come apart. It's not going to come off. This thing is, it's indestructible. There you go. All right. Is that everything? Let's look at the list, you guys. That's not everything. I got more stuff in this box. Why is there still stuff in the box if I'm at the end of my notes? Okay, let's talk about what's still in the box, guys. I have 2 millet dispensers. Why are there 2? Okay, we were talking at one point about the size of the beak on the bird. If you have a millet dispenser like this is plastic and it's kind of flimsy plastic. I don't know if you can see how bendy that is, bendy. Cricket, the conure, would do very well and does very well with millet in this kind of millet holder. I can also put crinkly paper in this around the millet, and this makes a great foraging toy for Cricket. She will enjoy that very much. If I put that in Mouse's cage, it would be destroyed. Maybe that would take her a couple minutes to destroy, right? She would go right through that plastic. But this one is stainless steel. This is a stainless steel millet holder. And this one I can put in Mouse's cage. No problem. No problem at all. This will last for a good long while in Mouse's cage. I can put millet in it. I can put crinkly paper and millet, and look, it's bendy. Yeah, that's good. So I have a few of these for the bigger beaked birds. Again, know your bird, know their beak, know what's going to work for them. I have some other things in here that I was going to show you. Like this is, I haven't put this in Cricket's cage yet because I have to yeet the pear clip. But this is, I think they call them firecrackers. I don't remember now. But it's just a little foraging toy that she can shred. She can take all that crinkly paper out of. And this is what it looks like when she's done with it. She loves these things. Cricket, she's a little conure. This thing is taller than she is. She loves these things. I keep them on hand because she loves them. I've got many of these in the toy box. Is that enough? You get the idea, right? The idea is we can take what we have, repurpose it. We can recycle things we have. If we save bits of the toys, we can take those indestructible toys that cost a little more. We can modify them. We can repurpose them. We can do things with the expensive stuff to make it last longer. We can do things with the destructible stuff just to make more last longer for our birds. I know that having a pet parrot is expensive these days. Vet bills are insane, right? But we can enrich our parrot's environment for not a whole lot of money. It doesn't have to cost a lot. A lot of these things I've shown you are just recycling what we already have. I'm trying to say it doesn't have to be terribly expensive to enrich your parrot's environment. That's what I'm trying to say. The point of this, enriching your parrot's environment. Interact with your bird, observe your bird, and you will be able to figure out how to make these different things that will bring your parrot joy. And do it yourself accordingly. You'll get closer. Yes, you'll get closer to your companion parrot. I guarantee it. I mean, you will. By observing your bird and interacting with your bird and making stuff for your bird and seeing your bird light up and play with that thing that you've made. I mean, you're building more of a bond with your bird. And that's awesome. That is great. That is a good thing. So you guys have fun saving money on enrichment for your smart companion parrots. This has been random and crazy. And I do recommend, of course, How to Train Your Parrot, because there's items, How to Train Your Parrot, How to Train Your Human, a guide for parrots. I only wrote it. Why would I know the name? I recommend this book, not just because there's cool ideas like some of these in there, but also because the proceeds help Ziggy's Haven Bird Sanctuary. You guys, this has been so random. Thumbs up for getting through this freaking presentation with minimal pain. Minimal pain. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe to this channel. In case you didn't notice, I need all the help I can get. Please subscribe to the channel. Please tell your friends to subscribe to the channel too, because we do talk about books, parrot books, other books, all kinds of books. Thank you so much for